There's a supreme sense of satisfaction whenever you uncover a video game secret. It can be as big as a vault containing all of the developer toys and items such as in the Fallout games, or it could be as tiny as a secret birthday message from a husband to his wife in Halo 3. Whatever the actual secret is, it feels like the curtain has been lifted ever so slightly and you've joined in a select group of winks and nods with the developers themselves. Except, hold on, what's this? Another secret? Oh, well, let's take a look at it. What does this say? Oh, it's telling me to insert my own fist into my... Well, I'm sure that's just a typo, surely. Unfortunately, this is actually the case in a surprising amount of video games, where even our most beloved titles will choose to mock us, the player, relentlessly just for looking in places that we shouldn't, or doing things the devs didn't want us to do, and sometimes just for playing the bloody game. So let's take a look at times where video games stopped giving us the thumbs up for finding their secrets and switched it with a middle finger. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 video game Easter eggs that seriously took the piss. Number 10. WWF Attitude PS1, Triple H berates the player. When it comes to wrestling, Triple H is the man who's seen it all and done it all. From marrying his way into the WWE kingdom to holding nearly every title within the company, he's a figurehead both in and out of the ring that commands attention from all those around him. And he definitely got our attention when playing the WWF Attitude game on the PS1 because the cheeky try-hard chose to have a customized message for the player which was, well, less than flattering. After sauntering to the ring looking like a tanned beach ball in some very tight leggings, Trips takes to the mic in order to dole out his at-the-time gimmick of, for the thousands in attendance, for the millions watching around the world, and then usually adding in a quip about the area or opponent that he would be facing. Yet here, instead of telling The Rock that he'd get his block knocked off, or informing The Undertaker that he would be a legit dead man by the time that he was through with him, Triple H calls us out by saying, and for the fat ass at home playing this video game. Ouch, mate, come on, I mean, we can't all look like a juiced up slab of ham. Be nice. Number 9. Wave Race Blue Storm Sarcastic Announcer. In the glory days of the early 2000s, everything was extreme. Our sports, our clothes, our belief that the Millennium Dome would last forever, and yes, you guessed it, our video games, which were also absolutely dripping with tood. Wave Race Blue Storm was just such one of these outlandish and over-the-top titles, allowing players to blitz across the almost neon blue waters with an announcer who sounded like he'd been on the party powder and would call out all of our actions with a frenzied cheerfulness. However, players discovered that they could take this otherwise chipper commentator and give him, well, let's just say the come down of his life, as by inputting a series of buttons on the music options menu, you'll unlock what has been affectionately dubbed as the sarcastic commentator. Here, instead of calling the shots with furious excitement, he will chastise you, flippantly stating, "Nice one," when you pass through checkpoints, or even mock you for your use of turbo. And that's when you're doing well, as if you lose a place or miss a target, geez, he'll mock you relentlessly. It's hilarious, but at the same time, such an odd inclusion for the game. Number 8. Psychosis. You. Where to begin with Psychosis? I mean, on the surface it looks like just another side-scrolling shooter filled with more clashing colours than a fashion show run by Guy Fieri. However, its plot is absolutely bonkers. The game tells you that an evil alien force has taken over your mind, and using your last bit of mental strength, you decide to create a ship in order to take the battle to these invaders. As you start kicking these horrible little freeloaders out of your mind, they'll understandably get a bit annoyed, and start messing with your head the more you try to boot them out of it. And this results in a rather infamous Easter egg that pops up occasionally between levels in the Japanese version, where an alien will appear with the text "F*** you" while flipping you the finger. There's even an audio clip to go with it. How lovely. Number 7. Lisa the First. Are you cheating? When it comes to seeing everything a game has to offer, after a while simply looking in every corner or trying every item simply isn't enough, and so the truly obsessed will turn to the game's code to extract unused enemies, levels, messages, and hack the game to pieces to explore out-of-bounds areas. Hell, there are brilliant channels dedicated to this sort of practice, and I encourage you to seek them out, because some of the things that they find are truly amazing, and sometimes a little bit disturbing too. This secret found in Lisa the First is neither of these, because it's actually actually the dev ribbing the player for circumventing an obstacle placed in their way on purpose. While exploring the world, you can come across an image of Marty swimming in a body of water. Marty, by the way, is the sexually abusive piece of trash father of Lisa, who plagues your existence at every turn. If, however, you fancy a chat with dear old dad, you can use a no-clip exploit to go visit him in the water, and your reward for confronting him here? A message from the dev that reads, "Are you cheating? You. No, Marty. You." Number 6. Jurassic Park: The Lost World Secret Ending. Not all video game endings are created equally. Some are exceptionally moving moments that will make the player truly feel a gut punch as they know that their time with the title is coming to an end. Others will hide secret and special endings that make the arduous task of unlocking them feel worthwhile as they reveal other hidden plot points or twists. The ending to Jurassic Park: The Lost World video game, though, is neither of these, because this game, well, it kind of has a go at you. If you manage to collect each and every single DNA piece in the game, which in itself is a huge task, then none other than hairy-chested botherer Jeff Goldblum appears and starts to address your actions. At first, it seems like he's congratulating you in his own kind of off-kilter way. However, things take a sharp turn when he then tells the player to go outside, have a walk, wash the stink off, and then call a member of the opposite sex because we've clearly spent too much time playing this. I understand that the actor is known for his ad-lib delivery, but it feels definitely like a punishment rather than a reward to be admonished by Dr. Malcolm. Number 5. Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy's Conquest: Being a Sad Lad. Sometimes video games can be brutally hard. I mean, just ask anyone who's played Dark Souls or any of the Ninja Gaiden games. And you know what? That's not a bad thing, as demanding challenges like these bring out the most skilled and determined players from amongst the pack. But if skill or talent isn't your strong suit, you can always cheat. Just maybe don't think that the devs aren't aware of what you're trying to do. Such is the case of Diddy's Conquest, made by the behemoths that were, RIP, Rare. While the first Donkey Kong Country blew the world away with its impressive sprite animations and fluid gameplay, Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy's Conquest blew the original away, annihilated the original by upping the quality and challenge across the board. The game is pretty much the perfect platformer, but if you are struggling with some areas, then don't worry, because by putting in Y, A, select A, down, left, A, down, you'd get 50 extra lives to see you through. However, if you look a bit closer at these inputs, then you'll see that this actually spells out, "Ya sad lad," meaning that the devs were mocking you for taking the easy way out. Fair one. Number 4. Earthworm Jim. The game calls you a worm. As with the other entry on this list of Jeff chewing us out for actually spending time to complete the game to 100%, Earthworm Jim took a rather different route, punishing and mocking players who apparently weren't up to scratch in their books. If you chose to complete the game on practice mode, which is Jimmy's version of easy mode, then upon hitting the final level, you'll not be rewarded with a conclusion to the narrative, but instead a personal attack by the developers themselves for your apparent lack of skill. The commentator will inform you that you are indeed a worm for playing on such a difficulty, and then state that if you want to see the real ending, you'll have to get better at the game. However, this is but the tip of the piss-taking iceberg, because what follows after this is a 5-minute presentation about worms and their biological makeup, which is done in an effort to educate the player so that they will do better the next time around, apparently. To be honest though, it's a laugh riot hearing the commentator trying to keep up with the text and was never meant to truly insult people, but it most definitely takes the piss. Number 3. River City Girls Defeated by Math. River City Girls, the spiritual successor to the almighty River City Ransom, is a game that showcases the best of what beat-em-ups have to offer. Updating the narrative for a modern era and giving such a graphical overhaul that it would make your head spin, this title sits alongside the newest Streets of Rage 4 as a love letter to a genre that is often written off as simplistic. And yet, you might not get off to the start that you would hope for, as the opening sections of this title can be pretty brutal, especially on the harder difficulty settings. But don't worry though, because the developers of the game will immortalize your failure forever by giving you the achievement Defeated by Math if you happen to get your ass handed to you in the classroom in which you begin the game. The reference is due to the fact that the girls you play as are bored of maths class. So bored in fact that they even state that this is it, we're dead by maths. Number 2, You Don't Know Jack. Don't mess with Jack. I've grown especially fond of party games at the moment because they allow me and my friends to socialise even if we're not in the same room. And when you're adding in the possibility of live audience interaction as well, the silliness reaches a kind of point of singularity. However, no one will be laughing if you decide to annoy the almighty and omniscient Jack. Now, Jack is the central figure of the You Don't Know Jack games, and his word is law. So if he makes mention of not messing around with your name at the beginning of the game, you best well heed it. Still, if you're a little potty mouth and give a swear as your response to any of the anagram questions that you get in the game, you'll get completely rinsed by the host and lose a ton of money for the privilege. Yet the fun doesn't stop there, because if a second player does the same, the host will become even more irate and state that it's not even original anymore. And you know what happens if a third player does it? Well, if you're playing the PC version, the game quits and boots you back to the desktop. Well, to be fair, we were taking the piss here, so it's only fair that we get it right back. And number 1, The Curse of Monkey Island, revisiting your dead self. Eventually. This next Easter egg has to be the most meta on this list, as not only is it a case of the developer basically growing tired of having the piss taken out of them, but also leads to a moment where they take the piss out of themselves. To better explain, in order to get this Easter egg to even trigger in the outstanding The Curse of Monkey Island, you need to coerce Guybrush to take a dip in a body of water, something that he repeatedly tells you he doesn't want to do. Eventually, after about 30 or 40 times of asking, he'll finally relent and take the plunge. As he walks along the riverbed, he looks at the camera and says, "Happy now?" But you'll also notice that he's not alone, for just up the screen is the original Guybrush Threepwood from The Secret of Monkey Island, who apparently has drowned. You can even revisit the area with precise clicking to see the body and interact with it. It's brain-bending in every regard, and a kind of hall of fame for players who took the piss in the original and left Threepwood underwater to see how long it would take for him to drown. God, my brain. And by the way, the answer is 10 minutes. In case you were wondering. And there we go, my friends. Those were 10 video game Easter eggs that seriously took the piss. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below, as well as any other suggestions that you might have, because I might do a commenters edition further down the line. If you want to chat to me further about all things to do with video games and anything else, then you can do so over on Twitter at RetroJ0. But while you're here, go over to Live and Let's Dice. It's my personal gaming channel. Yes, that's right, personal gaming channel with me, the Egg Daddy, and I just do all sorts of streaming on video games and board games with my friends over there, so please check us out. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. We talked today about video games that took the piss, and you know what? That's not very nice. We should be kinder to ourselves. We should actually give ourselves a break every once in a while. And you know what? That's very okay to do. With all the things that are going on in life at the moment, there's stress around every corner. So what I'd say to you, my friends, is take your foot off the gas and enjoy the surroundings. Because checking in with yourself and not driving yourself down into the ground, that's a very important thing to do. So be kind to yourself, both physically and mentally. Take it as easy as you possibly can. And remember, it is okay to do so. Big love to you, you massive ledge. As always, I've been Jules. You have indeed been awesome. Never forget that. And I'll speak to you soon. Bye.